Hello everyone. In today's video, I'm going to quickly explain a difference between a sales receipt and an invoice. For additional information regarding creating an invoice and creating sales receipt, please be sure to watch my previous video. And I'm also going to explain and show you how to receive payment on an open invoice in QuickBooks Online. So one common mistake in QuickBooks Online is creating a sales receipt instead of receiving a payment against an invoice. So just a quick explanation of a sales receipt versus invoice. A sales receipt indicates that payment was received when the product or service was delivered, which means that it immediately records income, but it also records that money was received. An invoice, on the other hand, is different because money has not been received yet. So when we record an invoice, it only records income, but instead of recording that money was received, it records accounts receivable. Recording this transaction in accounts receivable indicates that you can expect to get paid. When we have an invoice, a customer will pay us at a later date. So when a payment is received on an outstanding invoice, we need to record this transaction. And in order to record such payment, we use a receive payment transaction. So when you look at this table, you'll see that the process of selling and receiving payment for product or service is complete with a sales receipt. However, with the invoice, it's not complete until we record a payment. So in order to record that payment, we use a receive payment transaction in QuickBooks Online. Let's look at that now. So first of all, let's find our invoices. And in order to do that, let's go to All Apps, Sales, and Get Paid. And let's go to All Sales Transactions. So this is where you see all sales transactions, but we only want to see invoices. And in order to find our invoices, we're going to click Invoices. And here is where you see all of the invoices. There are several ways to receive payment. You can click Receive Payment button next to the invoice towards which you'd like to apply payment. So in this case, we're going to look at Ashley Furniture. Another option would be to go under My Menu, if that's one of your options. And you can also choose the plus Create button to receive payment. But in this case, we're going to receive payment by selecting the actual invoice. So let's go back to our invoice and click Receive Payment. And QuickBooks will automatically pull in the customer information and show any open invoices for that customer. So a customer's name will automatically be populated. And this lower portion of the Record or Charge section will allow us to enter the payment information if the customer wanted to pay by credit card or ACH bank transfer, but only if the business has turned on QuickBooks Payments. That's when this function can be used. Here you can see the button that says Activate Payments. Obviously, this business has not activated this function. So we're going to assume that the customer paid either by check or cash. All we have to do now is select the date that this invoice was paid. I'm going to enter May 18th. And see how it automatically shows us which invoice this will be applied to. And it also automatically pre-fills the amount received. And it's important to remember where you want to deposit the money. If you already deposited that particular check and it was only one check that you deposited, you're going to select your bank account. If, however, you are depositing multiple checks, or if you haven't deposited this particular payment onto your checking account yet, it's very important to remember to deposit this payment into undeposited funds. And I'm going to talk about undeposited funds in a separate video. But for now, remember to select undeposited funds if you plan to combine multiple payments into one bank deposit later, or if you received payment today, but you're not depositing it into the bank until later. This allows QuickBooks to hold the payment temporarily until you make the actual bank deposit. And this is common when you receive checks, when you batch credit card payments, or when multiple payments will be deposited together later. And if everything looks correct, you can just select Record and Close, or Record and New if you would like to receive payment for another transaction. Receiving payment is an important step. This way, the payment is linked to the invoice and the invoice shows as paid. So now the payment is properly linked to the invoice, the customer balance is updated, and the invoice status changes to paid. And here is where you can find that payment was made on May 18th for $450. So just remember that you use an invoice when the customer will pay you later, and you use receive payment when a customer pays that invoice. And a sales receipt is only used when payment is received at the time of sale.